Welcome. Welcome. Give everybody a second. We'll be going over some UFC, some MMA, some real estate. Yeah. Sunday time. Shoot this text. Boom, boom. What's up, Alex? What's up, Elijah? Little Mike's in the house. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I'm in San Diego, California right now. My boy Dean's in the house. What's up, Dean? What up? Warmir's back. Oh, what's going down, boys? What's going down? Give everybody another minute or so before we get going. Got a little bit of stuff we're going over today. Got a little Dana White beef. Have a little talk about a little real estate. Got my computer right here, looking up some stuff. Yeah. Give everybody another minute or so. Yeah. TJ, what's up? Rapid City, South Dakota's in the house. All right. Okay. Christopher, what's up, man? What's up? We got Canada in the house, Utica, New York. Where are we at? Where are we coming from, guys? Where are we chiming in from? Michigan. Nice. Michigan's in the house. Panama. Wow. That's legit. Panama is in the house. Wow. We're going to be going over a little bit of MMA news. We're going to be talking a little bit about real estate, the economy, talking money and fighting. It doesn't get much better, right? What's better than some money and fighting? Shout out to the Super Chat champs behind me right there. We had Adam Hassan and Ortega David. They were tied up last week, so shout out to them. Liverpool, England's in the house. That's legit. Las Vegas. Okay, Vegas is in the house. 315. Preston, England. Wow, that's awesome. Heck yeah. San Diego's in the house. What's up, Alan? Beautiful out today, huh? Man, started off cold this morning in San Diego, a little chilly. I had my sweatshirt on, went for a walk down the street. 30 minutes later, sun came out. It was nice. I was hot again. So gotta love that San Diego weather. Southern California at its finest. Cape Cod's in the house. Okay. Where we at, guys? Where we at? Florida's in the house. Heck yeah. We're at in Florida, Chris. Where in Florida are you from? Let me know. Chicago. Ooh. Tony, Chicago's in the house, huh? Whew. Chi-town. What's up? How's everybody doing? Tennessee's in the house. Okay, Daytona Beach. I've never been to Daytona Beach, Chris, but man, I've been everywhere else along Florida. We're just out in Orlando a little bit ago. I was in Jacksonville. So yeah, Sunday fun day. That's what's up. Yeah. North Carolina's in the house. Flint, Michigan. Okay, Mickey. How's stuff going in Flint right now, man? It's been a minute since I've been home. You holding it down out there? Mumbai, India. Tech Gamer. Welcome back, bro. Welcome back. All right. So let's start it off, guys. What are we grateful for this morning? I am starting off. I'm grateful. I'm in camp right now. I got a big fight coming up in July. I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful to just be waking up every day, man. I'm on my diet. I'm grateful for the sacrifice and the grind. I'm grateful for the weather out, the coffee in my stomach. I'm grateful for the good food, my family, of course. Let me see what else. I'm grateful for just being alive, man, being in the sun. I mean, that's a big thing right now. It's been very slow around here, just training, coming home. So I'm grateful for just having a job, I guess, having a fight coming up. What about you guys? Are you guys, what are you guys grateful for? Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be anything insane. What are we grateful for? Monroe, Michigan's back in. Okay. Grateful for yesterday's UFC card. Absolutely. Absolutely. Grateful for everything I have. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. If you can, if you have a roof over your head, if you have clothes on your back, if you have your health, your eyesight, if you can walk, there's a lot less fortunate people in the world. So yes, always grateful for that. Grateful to be back to work. Absolutely. Hey, if you guys have a job, man, be grateful for that, because that is not a lot of people have that. A lot of people are going through tough times right now. Grateful for my family. Yes, family first, always, always. Anything else? What are we grateful for? Back to work. Awesome. Australia's in the house. What's up all in Australia? Kyle, grateful to still work during the pandemic. Yes, man, that is awesome. Woo! We already have Goof Troop coming in with the super chat already, man. Didn't even give anybody else a chance, bro. Goof Troop said he has my first tap out Friday by armbar. Dang, is that in a fight? Was that a jiu-jitsu match training? Let me know, because congratulations if that was your first match or something. It's legit. So Goof Troop coming in right off tops with the super chat. Heck yeah. Write you down. Let me know, Goof Troop. Was that your first fight or your first jiu-jitsu competition? Let me know, because dude, that's legit. It probably felt awesome, huh? Getting that first submission, making that guy tap out. Oh man, the days training. Yes. Okay. Awesome, man. How'd you set it up? Did you just get it from guard, from mount? Where'd you get it from? Oh. And Dean is back in the house, one of our defending Super Chat champions. Dean says he's grateful for your support. MMA Twins. Awesome, man. Yeah, absolutely. Check out Dean. Dean has his brother as well. They actually got a YouTube channel going. Dean's coming back. He had a great amateur career, and he's looking to go pro. So shout out Dean, man. He's always on the videos, checking it out. We've had a great coaching call before. Went over some real estate. We talked a lot about training. So yes, shout out Dean. And so far, Dean's in the lead for the Super Chat Championship today. Let me know, Goof Troop, too. How did you set that up? Did you get it in guard, that armbar, or did you get it in like side control, mount? Where'd you get that from? Where are we from? So I wanted to start off today as well, guys, with a quote. I seen this sweet quote earlier, and I wanted to share it with you guys. It goes, and this is from my man Bruce Lee. He says, "Learn to discipline your emotions, because if you don't, your opponents will use them against you." I seen that, and I love that. Learn to discipline your emotions, guys. Angry, upset, if you're excited, anxious, whatever it is, learn to control them, because your opponents will use it against you. You know what I mean? If your opponents can get underneath your skin and get you angry, they will. So if you really don't want to give any of your opponents power, make sure you discipline your mind, discipline your emotions. I thought that was a beautiful thing. So yes, I want to start that off. And another quote, just in case you guys didn't know already from the channel, one of my favorite quotes as well is "Cash flow is king." I got it up on my wall just to remind me every day when I'm waking up and I'm getting ready to grind, I'm going out there, I'm making money, I'm training, I'm working towards my goals, to remember that cash flow is king. If you guys want to be financially successful, if you guys want to be financially free, you don't want to have to need a job, you don't want to have a boss, you don't want nobody breathing down your back, then you need cash flow, and that is king. I would much rather have cash flow over cash. I would much rather have cash flow over gold. I would much rather have cash flow over a Bentley. So cash flow is king. So that's another one I wanted to. Goof Troop, chime back in. He said he got it from the side mount, just rolled into it by luck. Awesome. Getting that first armbar, man. Keep it up, Goof Troop, because when you start training jiu-jitsu, it starts off very slow. It really does. You're trying to learn an elbow knee escape. You feel funky, you feel awkward, but the more you do it, the more you train, Goof Troop, the better you're going to get, and the better your body's just going to react, and you're going to see different things. You're going to see arm bars, you're going to see rear naked chokes, you're going to see it all. So make sure you just keep training. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. All right, let's get into some MMA news today, because there's a lot going on. And we're going to start it off with Jon Jones asking for his release from the UFC. If you guys are not familiar with what's going on, you've been under a rock for a little while, Dana White and Jon Jones are kind of going back at it. Basically, long story short, you have Jon Jones that really wants this heavyweight fight with Francis Ngannou. And I might have butchered his last name right there. So if I did, my bad. But Jon Jones wants to move up into heavyweight. He wants a super fight against Francis. And he got everybody hyped up online, on the internet, and basically went to the UFC and wants it. He asked for, to be compensated to go up to the heavyweight to fight Francis. And Dana White came out like a day later and said that Jon Jones was asking for crazy amounts of money, Deontay Wilder money. And that kind of leaves us with some questions, because it's like, is Jon Jones lying? Because Jon Jones said he wasn't asking for a crazy amount of money. You got Jon Jones over here that's saying, nope, I just wanted to be paid a little bit more if I'm going to go fight this crazy animal in Francis. And I think that's a super fight that a lot of people would want to pay for personally. And on top of that, I think Jon Jones is a big draw. Whether Jon Jones has been in DUIs and doing stupid stuff or not, I think Jon Jones is a big draw. So he wants to be paid more for that risk of going up and putting his legacy on the line against somebody like Francis. And then you got Dana White just coming out and saying, hey, he's asking for crazy amounts of money, and we're not paying him that, basically. So Jon Jones last night got on Twitter, and he started tweeting. It's funny how people get on Twitter, and it's like them Twitter fingers. They just get really wild on Twitter. So this is what Jon Jones says, and I'm reading, quote, "The reporter asked Dana to show the text messages. Instead, he gives a 55-second response talking about why would I lie." So apparently Jon Jones asked, hey, Dana, release the text messages about me basically asked for crazy amounts of money, because I didn't. And Dana didn't release anything. And Jon Jones goes, "At no point did I ever demand anything from you, Dana. I simply asked for a super fight, and I asked to be compensated for it. You are the one who started talking negotiations publicly and showing the world how much you've been withholding from your athletes this whole time." Wow. So not only is Jon Jones saying he didn't ask for crazy money, but in that statement right there, he basically told Dana, said to everybody that Dana White's been withholding money from his athletes for a long time, the whole time. So that right there is taking a straight punch right at Dana White, basically saying, hey, you don't pay the fighters anything. And then he goes on. So this is Jon Jones still going on. "Hunter and I have a very respectful conversation. I love how you're trying to paint this picture of me being some angry guy, disrespectfully demanding money, and then bringing up my out-of-the-cage affairs to justify underpaying me by tens of millions for years." Wow. So Jon Jones just basically said, hey, Dana, you're kind of a clown for taking personal shots at me. And he says again that you've been underpaying him for over $10 million for years. Dang. So he's basically saying that Dana White owes him money, has been underpaying him for years, and that was a real cheap shot to go at Jon personally. Wow. And then Jones still keeps going on Twitter. This is all on Twitter. So Jones says, you're talking all that big guy stuff about not caring. Put your money where your mouth is and release me from my contract. Ooh, that's a big one. You're talking all this big guy stuff and not caring. put your money where your mouth is and release me from my contract. When he says you're talking all that big guy stuff, that to me almost personally is like you're talking stuff like come get some. So I don't know if he's meaning physically right there or what, but Jon Jones, that's how I kind of took it right there. And then Jon Jones goes to say, put your money where your mouth is and release me from my contract. So now you got Jon Jones literally taunting the president of the UFC, saying, if you think you're tough, if you think, I got personal problems, I don't sell, release me from my contract. Wow, this is pound for pound could be the best fighter ever in the UFC roster talking about this. And he still goes on. Let's see what else he has to say. I'd probably make more in my first boxing match than my next 3 UFC fights combined. Wow. Jon Jones has said he'd probably make more in my first boxing match than my next 3 UFC fights combined. Wow. So that to me opens up, is boxing paying that much more? Could Jon Jones really make that much more money in boxing? I mean, that's pretty crazy if he really thinks that that's what it is. Maybe it is. Maybe Jon Jones knows boxing promoters, knows Deontay Wilder, knows Tyson Fury, and kind of is knows behind the scenes and knows he could get paid more than his next 3 UFC fights combined for one boxing match. That's what he's saying. That's crazy. If he's really believes that and he's got some facts to back that up, and he can go make 3 times more money in boxing, wow. And here's my favorite part. In this same tweet, Jon Jones also says, there's real estate, acting, just kicking it, and being a dad. No one needs to put up with Dana's lies. So that's a huge statement right there. First things first, because Jon Jones basically just says right there that he invests in real estate. He's got real estate making him money. Shout out Jon Jones, because obviously we all love real estate here. Real estate's the best investment. And props to Jon Jones for putting his money there, because even all the silly stuff he's done, he obviously is wise enough to put his money where it's making more money and it's going to grow, and he'll be able to be set for life. So Jon Jones says, hey, Dana, basically I got real estate money making me money. He can act, so he can do some acting stuff so he can make money there. And he said, I can just kick it and be a dad. I don't need to put up with you. So that's basically saying this. Dana has no leverage over Jon Jones. Jon Jones doesn't need to fight anymore financially. Jon Jones can have his real estate and his acting and his other outside the cage antics and stuff that he does pay him money. He doesn't need to put up with Dana lying. And this is all from Jon Jones. And on top of that, Jon Jones is a father. He can go. Jon Jones is paid enough to go spend the rest of his life if he wants to be a dad, if he wants to kick it in Albuquerque. And that's the power of Jon Jones, right? If this is an average UFC fighter, he can't do that. If this is the 90% of the roster in the UFC, they don't have real estate making them money to where they don't have to go fight anymore. They can't go act. They basically have to take what's given to them because they have no other choice. And Jon Jones is basically saying, I'm not that type of guy, man. I don't need to fight. I don't need to deal with you, Dana. I want to step up to the heavyweight division, have a great big fight. And, man, I don't need it. I can go do real estate and I can do other stuff. So that's what Jon Jones is saying. So let's look at what Dana White is saying. Dana White. So White was asked last night at the press conference. So after the fights, and we'll get to the Tyron Woodley fight and some of the fights last night. But Dana White was asked by a reporter at the press conference last night about Jon's recent claims that he lied about a series of text messages. And this is what Dana White said. What do you do? White said. Who do you believe? It's up to you guys. What the hell would I lie for? What do I need to gain from lying about it? Why would I lie? It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's fired up right now. So first things first, what do you do? He's saying, what do you do about Jon Jones? Who do you believe? That's a good question. I don't know who to believe. I don't know if Jon Jones is lying about the text messages, asking for crazy money, or I don't know if Dana's lying. I don't know if Dana's basically just trying to to keep that pay talk on the low. You know what I mean? It's up to you guys. So basically saying you guys make your own opinion. I'm not doing it for you, which I don't really like that. I'd rather, let's talk this through instead of just being like, oh, you guys go ahead and figure it out. What would I lie for? What the hell would I lie for? Dana says. I mean, looking on the outside, looking in, it doesn't look good if your heavyweight champion wants to move up for a big fight and you don't want to pay him much. You know what I mean? A lot of people are going to be like, well, we want to see that fight. Just pay him, So I think that would maybe be a reason for him to lie. But besides that, if he isn't lying, if Jones is actually asking for crazy amounts of money, then I just don't know why he wouldn't just release the text messages just to shut Jones up and prove to everybody that, again, he's not lying. What do I have to gain from lying about it? Dana asked. Again, I think, keeping anything about fighters' pay, because there's always been talks about if fighters been paid enough, if they haven't. And obviously on this channel, I go into detail about some of my fights, and it's just to be transparent. Obviously, you can make a case for either or, but I mean, why would I lie? It doesn't matter. I mean, I really think Dana gets fired up a lot when people talk about the fighter pay. So I don't know why. It's just, to me, why would I lie? But why wouldn't you just release the text messages showing that Jones was asking for crazy amounts of money? You know what I mean? Obviously, he's fired up right now, which I agree. You can obviously see Jon Jones is fired up, is on Twitter just going insane, is getting emotional about it. So Dana goes back into it a little bit more. He says, Jones had a great talk yesterday with Hunter, my lawyer, who's really close to Jon Jones and likes him, White said. So that's kind of a cool behind the scenes. I guess, Hunter Campbell, who's a big guy behind the scenes, Dana White's lawyer, talked to Jon Jones. They got a good relationship. So that's a good sign right there, guys. Jon Jones leaving or anything like that. I think with the lawyer and Jon Jones having a great relationship, that actually really helps out to try and smooth stuff over and get a win-win for what's next for Jon Jones. He said they have a good relationship. They had a good talk yesterday. It is what it is. I really don't care. I couldn't care less, to be honest with you. All right, so I don't know. You got the best pound-for-pound fighter, in Dana's own words. You're basically saying the best pound-for-pound fighter you don't care about. So I don't know if that's just Dana kind of being like, I'm just mad at Jon Jones right now. But come on, right? You got to care about Jon Jones a little bit. He's your light heavyweight defending world champion. No matter what he's been through, what he's done, you have to care a little bit. So that would be my opinion on it. But Dana's saying he could care less, to be honest with you. So he said they had a good talk. They had a good talk yesterday. Those guys are tight. Jon Jones and I have always had this. I'm always looking at what Jon Jones could have been. He could have been the LeBron James of this sport. So now Dana is going in and he's kind of switching up, comparing Jon Jones to LeBron James. Okay? So Dana's saying Jon Jones could have been the LeBron James of this sport. He could have been that big. The stuff that he's been through, to show up and think he's basically demanding $15 million or $20 million or $30 million, it's crazy. So that's what Dana's saying right there. Jon Jones was demanding $15 million, $20 million, or $30 million. That's what Dana's saying. And that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of cheese, baby. It's crazy, Dana says. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can sit out, he can fight, he can do whatever. Okay. So I agree with Dana White right there. Jon Jones, at the end of the day, he can sit out, he can take the fight that UFC provides for him, or he can do whatever. And that's the power of the UFC. The UFC will continue to go on. The show goes on whether Jones fights or not, guys. I mean, that's just what it is. That's what it's been. It's been multiple champions and situations that have done this. And Dana's saying, hey, I don't care, man. I'm not paying you $15 million. I'm not paying you $20 million. I'm not paying you $30 million because you demand it. You can sit out, you can fight, you can do whatever. So Dana goes on. He says, being the greatest of all time doesn't mean you get $30 million, White said. Being able to sell does. Wow. So that right there, to me, tells you that if you want to get paid in the sport, it's not about being good. It's about being able to sell. So that That's actually a good inside info, and that's a good point made by the president of the UFC. Doesn't matter really if you got the belt or if you're a champion or you're the best of all time. First things first, it matters if you want to get paid, you need to be able to sell, is what he's saying. Being able to sell does. Jon Jones has done a lot of things to himself. In one of his tweets, he was saying, I trashed him, I tarnished him. You've done a very good job of tarnishing yourself. I haven't done that, which is true. Yes, I mean, if any of that, the black light on Jon Jones has been of all of his silly stuff that he's done in the past. So Dana is right there. Anything to tarnish Jon, it's Jon that's tarnished himself. It's not Dana White. And we're almost done. He said Hunter told him, you can come in and walk through the numbers. I'll walk you through the numbers. So I think to me, it means that the numbers of maybe what the UFC is making, maybe the UFC is going to show Jon Jones, like, look, you want 30 million. We're only going to make 10 million off this fight. We're not going to lose 20 million on it. Maybe that, that's what I'm kind of taking it as. And if so, that's actually the right thing to do. Because from a business standpoint, the UFC can't just lose money on events. They'd go out of business, right? So Dana's saying, hey, I'll walk you through the numbers. And Dana's saying Jon Jones says, I don't give a shit about the numbers are, about what the numbers are. I want what I want, and that's it. So if that's in a text message, basically Jon Jones saying, I don't care what the numbers are, Dana, I want what I want, then that changes the story up. That means that Jon Jones is demanding some type of money that the UFC is trying to show him that they don't have. So if that's the case, then I would agree with the UFC. Like, dude, we can't pay you 30 million if we're going to lose, if we're only going to make 10 million on this fight. Like, here's the numbers. And Jones is basically saying, hey, I don't care what it is. I want to be paid. I want to be paid now. And this is what Dana says to finish it up. Why don't you guys fly back and tell your boss what this company makes? I don't care what this company makes. This is what I want. You're going to give it to me, and see how that crap goes and works out for you, which is a great point by Dana White. If you go to your boss and say, hey, I want to be paid, 250 grand for my job, and the boss goes, bro, we're only making, 100 grand this year. We can't afford to pay you that. And you say, I don't care. This is what I want. The boss is going to say, all right, bro, grab your stuff. You're fired. Get out of here. We don't need you. That's just capitalism. That's just the free market. You can't just demand stuff. So the question of this whole fight goes to, is Jon Jones really demanding crazy money, and can UFC pay it? Is UFC just trying to penny pinch and not pay Jon what it's worth? I don't know. I would like to see the text messages, but that's what we're dealing with right now in the MMA game. You got the one of the best fighters, if not could be arguably considered the best pound for pound fighter, going head to head with the owner of the UFC, saying, like a lot of other fighters in the past have said, you're nickel and diming me. I want to be compensated. I'm not going to fight unless you pay me. And you basically got Jon Jones or Dana White saying, I don't care. You can sit out, you can fight, or you can just not do anything. So that is what we're dealing with. So what do you guys think? Do you think Jones is lying? Do you think Dana's lying? Let me know. Let me see. What do you guys think? Is Jones lying? There's only one Jon Jones son. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, Last Supper says that's some BS. Daniel says, I suppose the UFC is bigger than one fighter. Absolutely, yeah. At the end of the day, the show goes on. UFC will continue to go on. They both are probably lying, says Trippy Leaf. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe they're both, kind of fudging their thoughts on it. I just want to see what's true, because I would like to know personally. Like, I want to know, is Dana nickel and diamond the best fighter considerably in the world, or is Jon Jones just talking out of his butt and trying to bully Dana White, in the UFC into more money? I want to know. That's why he wasn't fired and UFC won't release him, says Alex. Yeah, that's a good point, Alex. Because Jon Jones said again, he said, release, and this is let me pull up that part where let me see here. Let me see. I'm looking for it, guys. Hold on. I want to see where he says release me. Okay, yeah. So you're talking about this big guy stuff and not caring. Put your money where your mouth is and release me from my contract. Wow. So that Jon Jones basically just made a statement right there. Like, look, Dana, you're saying I'm asked for too much money. You don't care about me, yada, yada. Release me from my contract. So that's almost like if we're playing poker, that's like going all in. Like, hey, fine. You don't need me, Dana. Then release me. Let me go. Get me out of here. Because I'll go make 3 times more money in boxing. That's crazy. And I haven't heard, Dana really say anything about releasing him or not. Doesn't seem like he would. Dana, so Classified says Dana is about to be a liar. Yeah, it's true. Maybe. I think Dana's lying. So Alex says that Dana's lying because he won't release the tax. Jeremiah says Jones doesn't understand that the UFC doesn't need him. Doesn't matter how good you are. It matters how much money you bring in. Why do you think Mighty Mouse got traded? Yeah, great question, or a great statement, because just like Dana said right there, you can be the best fighter in the world, but if you don't sell, then it doesn't matter. You're not making money. So we got Dana has done that before. Yes. Yeah, he has. There's been multiple times where Dana has basically said, hey, you can get out of here. You can scram. Drinking that Rockstar too. Make sure if you guys got any specific questions too, hit that super chat. D Nasser, defending champs, and is in the lead. So yeah, so that's what's going on right now with Dana and the UFC and Jon Jones. Jones has the same text messages. Why doesn't he release them? That's a great question, Charlie. That's a great question. If Jones does have those text messages, if he was sending them back over there, why wouldn't he release them too? That's a good question. Maybe somebody should ask Jones that. Hey, why don't you release the text messages, man? On Jones knows that only has a few fights left. You want to make the most of them. Yeah, I don't know how much longer Jones has, but maybe he thinks that he only has a couple fights left. Maybe. Yeah. Jones will make big money elsewhere, same as Mighty Mouse. Yeah, I agree. Whether Jones goes to boxing or stays with the UFC, he's going to make money wherever he goes. And at the same time, he has real estate. He has a lot of stuff going on for him already. So Jon Jones financially is in a good place. All right. So let's talk about Tyron Woodley and Gilbert Burns last night, man. Gilbert Burns coming out and sweeping and dominating Tyron Woodley. I thought Tyron was going to win that fight. I thought that was a good matchup for him. I thought Tyron had him outmatched on the feet, power, the wrestling. But Burns came out, man, clipped him on the feet, kicked his legs, got on top of him, and basically beat up Tyron the whole fight. The whole fight, man. So, wow, what a huge win for Gilbert Burns. I mean, that's what that comes down to. He just beat arguably the number 2, maybe the number 3 guy in the world. So huge win for Gilbert Burns. And, I feel for Woodley. I'm a fan of Woodley. I feel like a couple times I've met him, he seems like a real cool dude. Man. And I was pulling for him in this fight. I really thought he would win. So that kind of puts Woodley in a weird spot. 2 losses, former champion. What does he do now? Where does he go now? I do love that Tyron Woodley, though. I watched his video that he posted on Instagram after the fight. And I don't know if any of you guys seen his Instagram, but basically Tyron was just saying right after the fight, he was like, look, first things first, man, I talk, when I win fights, and then I really think you should talk when you lose fights too. So that to me, props to Tyron for not scurrying away and not wanting to talk to anybody and just anything like that. He's still being vulnerable. He's still voicing up, talking about the fight. And, he's been quoted as saying, I've got a weird piece for somebody who just got their ass whooped. Yeah, man. That's that's because when Tyron lost against Usman, basically Tyron was talking like, hey, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel right. It was just a bad night for me. But Tyron, after this fight with Gilbert Burns last night on his Instagram, just basically said, look, man, I came in prepared. I felt great. I felt great backstage during the warm-up. He felt great during the fight. He had a tough first round. He got cut. He got kicked, messed his leg up. And Tyron basically just said, he started talking about God. He's just like, man, I'm at peace right now because God has a plan for me. Even though Tyron doesn't know what's going on, what's next, why, or anything like that, he basically is just saying, God has a plan for me, and I'm at peace with that. And guys, that's how sometimes this game is, man. This game is crazy sometimes. Being a fighter, just like Tyron is talking about, like, you can have a great camp. You can do everything correctly. You can eat correctly. You can train correctly. You can have a perfect warm-up. You can feel good. You can look good, man. And you go out there, and it's just not your night. It's just not your night. And, man, it wasn't Tyron's night last night. And I'm actually happy to see, though, that he seems like he's in a lot better place than he was when he lost to Usman. When he lost to Usman, I don't think his mind would accept it. I think his mind was resisting that loss, and he even talked about going into a little bit of a depression. But this fight, I really think after he lost, I think he's gonna bounce back a lot quicker. And man, I'm actually looking forward to that and seeing him get back in there. And for Gilbert Burns, man, what's next for Gilbert? What do you guys think? Before I start talking about it, what do you guys think is next for Gilbert Burns, who just beat Tyron Woodley? Just dominated Tyron Woodley. Do you guys think Gilbert Burns deserves a title shot? Do you guys think Gilbert Burns should fight Masvidal? Do you think Gilbert Burns maybe just had a lucky night and he needs to fight maybe Leon Edwards or something? What do you guys think? Nobody likes Woodley's defense style. Okay. Burns is a horrible matchup for Woodley. Burns, BJJ, very good, so Woodley won't take him down. Burns had the more versatile striking and was able to avoid one-punch shot. Okay. Warmir says Gilbert would be snoozeman. Do you think Gilbert would be snoozeman? I don't know. Tyron should fight Colby. They're both coming off losses. Yeah, I like that idea. I think that'd be a big fight. Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington. I like that. So Rodriguez says Gilbert should fight Kamaru. Okay, give him that title shot. He should fight Rocky Edwards. Yeah, maybe like a #1 contenders fight. CG says, I think Leon should have the title fight. It's right. Okay. Riptide says, I hope Tyron improves a lot more and learns from his loss. I agree, Riptide. Hopefully Tyron, mixes up his game a little bit and can make some adjustments. Tyron, the frozen one, Woodley. Oh, the frozen one. Okay. Daniel Dodd says, one more fight. Leon Edwards will be a class fight, and I believe Burns said he wanted him. Okay. I believe Burns said after the fight that he wants the title shot. I believe that Burns said, it might be a little awkward fighting Usman. He loves Usman, but he wants that title shot. He's earned it, which I think he knocked out Damian Maia, and he just dominated Tyron Woodley. I think you could make a huge case for Gilbert Burns deserving a title shot. I mean, yeah. He beat basically the former champion. Nobody's beaten Woodley besides Usman. Dylan says, what's up, Dylan? Welcome back, brother. Burns is a really hard fight for Usman. Better on the feet and can submit him. Yeah, and you got to remember that Usman and Burns train together. So they both know each other's styles, right? They both know how each other strikes. They both know, how each other grapples, how they feel. I'm sure they both have, Usman and Gilbert have both had days where they, Usman has gotten the better of Gilbert. And then there's probably been days where Gilbert's gotten the better of Usman. So, Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And I wonder if they like if obviously Gilbert wants to fight, but I wonder how Usman feels about the fight. I know the champ Usman's congratulated him on Twitter and said, "Man, great performance, Gilbert." But he hasn't come out and said like, "I'll give you the title shot," because you got to remember, it's up to the champion too. Like if the champion wants to fight Gilbert Burns, you know what I mean? It's like Usman has been stated to want to fight Conor, said he'll give Conor a title shot, but Conor didn't. That fight didn't happen. So I'm waiting to see if Usman will come out and say, "Hey, I'll give my teammate Gilbert Burns a shot." That'd be interesting. Warmere says Woodley is 38. Father time is catching up to him. Yeah, age definitely, as you get older, it gets a little crazy, but you'll also see guys that still do well as they get older as well. He's on fire. Yes, I think you're talking about Gilbert Burns. Yep. Masvidal should fight Usman. Yeah, I would like to see that fight. Definitely. Burns beat a pair of guys that should retire, not ready for a title shot. Okay, well, I don't really think you should, you can't really say Tyron Woodley should retire. I mean, he's lost to Usman, who's the champion, and then, Burns now, who it was a very impressive performance. I would like to see another fight, maybe 2 fights before you could actually say, Tyron needs to retire. And honestly, it's all on Tyron, man. If he gets motivated and he comes back stronger from this fight, then he could get on another win momentum and get going, rocking and rolling. So I don't know if it's that early enough to be talking about retirement for Woodley. I think Usman will beat Burns by decision. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I'd have to go back and watch a little more footage on these guys. But off the top of my head, I would say Usman would edge Burns a little bit. I think if Usman can kind of beat him up on the fence a little bit, and this is off the top of my head, but just beat him up on the fence a little bit. And then you've seen Usman in his last fight with Colby. Man, Usman took some shots. Man, it was a back and forth fight. So Usman in his last fight really impressed me with just pure toughness. Burns, I think, is tough as well. Burns is well-rounded, but I think Usman, man, is just a little bigger. I think he's can control the grappling a little bit more where the fight goes, a little bit more powerful. I do think that Burns, though, is a little bit more versatile. I'll give him that. I think he's got more kicks and a little bit more tools. All right, so that's what happened last night. A big, big win for Gilbert Burns. Congrats to him, man. That's got to feel good. All right, we got a little bit of time left today, guys. Let's talk a little bit about some real estate. I read an article today about investing, and it's entitled "Millionaire Who Saved 70% of His Income and Retired at 35. We should all live by these 6 basic principles." So this guy became a millionaire by 35, and he saved 70% of his income. So we're switching gears here a little bit. So I want to know if you guys agree with these 6 principles that this guy used to retire when he was 35. I'll give you my thoughts on it as well. But long story short, in 2016, after accumulating close to $1 million in savings, I quit my 6-figure job in software development and retired at age 35. Retiring at age 35. Imagine that. Like, you don't need a job anymore at 35 years old. How cool is that, right? So here is some of his tips. Tip number 1, make financial freedom your number 1 goal. So he's saying basically, hey, if you guys want to retire at 35 years old, you need to make financial freedom your number 1 goal, which I agree with this. I agree that more people, they focus on, man, how can I make more money or how can I get richer, instead of focusing on how can I become financially free. Like that I agree with this 100%. How can I get financial freedom? Make that your number 1 goal. He goes into saying the first rule is the most important, and it has little to do with money. It's about wanting to achieve a goal enough to make it your top priority. Back then, I had a great salary and I was at a good job, but I dreaded going to work every day. Man, that sounds like me back at the zoo, or back at when I was working at the hot tub, spa place. Man, I didn't want to go to work. I just really didn't want to go to work. I didn't enjoy having a boss or sitting through performance reviews. The meetings, office conflicts, and long commutes were exhausting. So this guy's basically saying I didn't want to drive to work. I didn't like sitting in the office. So he focused on making dramatic changes to his financial habits. Instead of letting my money sit idle, I invested more of it. I also started saving 70% of his income. So this guy saved 70% of his money. That's a lot. I mean, most people, when they work, they spend everything they make. So he's talking about saving 70% of his income. So tip number 2, principle number 2 that he lives by: actively boost your income. And again, I think this is a good one. I think basically what he's saying here is, this is what he says: even though I was making 6 figures, I was always thinking about ways I could use my skills to actively boost my income when I wasn't in the office. So I love this idea, right? So let's say you work at a job. Now you make, 60 G's a year at your job, or 40, 30, whatever it is. How can you make more money? How can you supplement even more money? Boost your income, right? Actively. So maybe it's Uber, right? Maybe you're doing some Ubering. Maybe you're doing private lessons of something. Maybe you're good at, piano or music or the guitar. Maybe you can kind of teach private lessons. There's just a lot of ways to make money and to add supplemental income. If you guys didn't check out that video that I did on my channel, I talked about 4 sources of income that I have. And I'll review it. It's like basically number 1 is my fight income, right? So I fight, I make money. Number 2 is real estate money. So when I rent out a property, I make money each month. So that's another source of income. So even though I make good money from fighting, I'm still like, I want to make another source of income, actively making more money. And that's why I have real estate. And then I also do personal training. So I'll do, lessons. So if anybody wanted to do like an hour private session, which you can sign up for in the link in the description, but I do some of that. And I also do seminars. So I'm not content with just having that one source of income. I'm always trying to have extra income, make more income. So I love this second principle: actively boost your income. How can you make more money, right? That's what we need to be doing. So number 3, his principle number 3, invest in appreciating assets. I like this one. So have you guys ever heard the saying, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, right? That's a big part of it. So put that money into an asset that goes up in value. Maybe real estate, maybe stocks, maybe gold. So that was his 3rd principle. I like this principle. Number 4, automate. This one's okay. I don't think this is a big principle personally, but he's basically saying him and his wife used the fullest when they were working. They contributed automatically when they got paid. Money went out for their 401k, checking and savings. They automatically paid credit cards. This is, I'm not really big into those. Automating. I think there's other principles that is a little bit better, but for him it worked. Number 5, he says, know where your money is going. This is very important, guys, right? When we have money, and you're trying to be financially free, you're trying to make money, you're trying to keep money and be financially independent. You have money coming in and you have money going out. So it's like offense and defense. Money coming in, money going out, right? So what he's saying, principle number 5, is that you need to know where your money is going. So where's your money going out, right? Where's your budget? How much money are you spending on rent? How much money are you spending at the bar every Friday night? How much money are you spending on shoes and Gucci, right? Hopefully you're not buying any of that. That's a big waste of money, in my opinion. But yeah, I love this one. I think that's huge. You need to understand where your money's going. And principle number 6, detach yourself from things you don't need. So he's saying, I used to be a super spender. I had a supercharged Corvette and a Cadillac. I also rode a sports bike and paying, for insurance and all this. So basically he's talking about what do you want compared to what you need. And I think this is a big step and a big part of the early stages when you're really working to become financially independent. You really need to understand, yeah, you might want that Gucci shirt, but do you really need it? Nah, not really, right? You need a roof over your head. You need food in your stomach. You need, some type of clothing. It doesn't have to be Gucci, but, you need some type of clothing. So kind of understanding what you want compared to what you need. And I agree to that, especially in the early stages, right? My only problem with this one is I don't think you should live below your means for forever. I think you should live below your means until you can expand your means. So to me, it kind of kills the spirit when you're always just trying to be like, oh, I don't want to spend this. I don't want to spend that. I want to, live below my means. I like basically saving your money, living below your means until you get to a point where you have so much money coming in from assets that make cash flow and you have so much money saved that you can like, okay, I can comfortably go buy that car that I've always wanted. I can do it now because I've made the right steps and I'm in a place to be able to do it. So yes, you want to have what you need, but you also want to have the good things in life, what you want as well too. So those are his 6 steps, his 6 principles. I like them. The only thing I would add to it though that he didn't talk about is you got to invest your money into assets that produce cash flow. So he talked about appreciating assets. So what does that mean? Appreciating assets means if I buy a stock for $50 and it goes up to 100, now that stock appreciated from 50 to 100. Okay. But what I also like, and I think it's taken a step further, is I would rather have a piece of real estate that I bought for, 50 grand and it goes up to 100 grand, right? So it's appreciating, but each month that I own that, it also pays me money every month in cash flow. So that's one thing I would add to this is that you need to invest in assets that produce cash flow. That's what the wealthy do. And that would be my only addition to this. Cash flow. Just like we talked about in the beginning, cash flow is king. So that's where I wanted to share that article with you. I thought it was a good one. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit from that. And yeah, so let's open it up for some questions here. Oh, who we got here? We got Rodriguez. Thanks, Myles. You're always inspiring. My man, thank you. Man, that's our goal here with this channel, Rodriguez, is to inspire and educate, through martial arts, investing, finances, the best of both worlds. So thank you so much, my man. I'm glad that you got something out of this channel, and I'm glad you got something out of it today. So thank you for the support for the channel, brother. Let's open up for some questions, guys. Does anybody have any questions? Warmir asks, what are your thoughts on the riots? I don't want to get, I honestly don't want to do religion and politics on this channel. I feel like that just leads in a circle. So yeah, Richard says Monster drink. I got Rockstar, baby. I love my Rockstar. Shout out Rockstar. Should hook me up with a sponsorship. That would be sweet. I would love that. So Latoro says, Myles, how did you learn so much about real estate? Great question. So first things first, learning, I basically read books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Ken McElroy, the ABCs of real estate investing. I sought out mentors. So basically people that were already investing in real estate, and I talked to them and I learned a lot from them. YouTube, right? This channel and other channels, having YouTube is such a direct connection and source to whatever it is you're trying to learn, right? And the best thing about YouTube, I learned a lot from it and I still do. I mean, I follow Grant Stephan, Morris Invest, I follow Ben Mahala. There's just a lot of guys on real estate that I actually still listen to. Ken McElroy, who is actually probably pound for pound when it comes down to like real estate and the nuts and bolts and the all around points of real estate that you need to learn. I think Ken McElroy is a great source. So I learned from YouTube, mentors, and I learned a lot, guys, from doing it. Right? I mean, it's like fighting. It's like you can sit here and you can watch a video on an armbar. Just like Goof Trooper was talking. I can watch a video on an armbar all day, but until I actually get out there and get in the gym and do it, man, that's where you do your best learning. So I learned a lot about real estate by actually buying a property, by fixing it up, by putting a tenant in there. Like I learned a lot by that, by actually getting out and trying it, right? I mean, look at like riding a bike. It's the same thing. Like you get out there, you get on a bike, you fall down, you make some mistakes, you get back up, you fall down, you get back up, and then eventually you get good at it, and you just continue to get good, and you work towards greatness. So great question. That's a great question. That's how I learned a lot about real estate. Nathan Turner says, what's your thoughts on wholesale real estate? I love it. I love it, man. For me, I love wholesalers because they provide a service for me, right? A wholesaler, if anybody doesn't know what a wholesaler is, basically what a wholesaler does is they go around cities, neighborhoods, and they'll find sellers that are motivated, right? So let's say if a wholesaler came to me and they said, Myles, do you want to sell your house, right? It's worth 50 grand. Let's just say actually 100. Let's say to make it even easier, it's worth 100 grand, Myles, your house is. Now, I'm not going to pay you 100 grand, but let's get it under contract. I'll pay you 70, right? And I'm like, you know what? I kind of just want to get rid of it. I don't really want to deal with anything. So yeah, I'll give you a big discount. I'll lock it up under contract with 70 grand. So now what that wholesaler does is says, look, I'm buying it at 70 grand and we're going to get it under contract, but give me a month, give me 6 weeks to actually be able to pay you your 70 grand. And I say, okay, you got 6 weeks to pay me my 70 grand. We're under contract. That's what it is. I don't give the house to you or anything yet. It's just under contract that you have the purchase agreement, that you have the rights to buy it. Now, what I do as a wholesaler, or what this wholesaler would do, is take this contract for 70 grand and go to Nathan and say, Nathan, do you want to buy this house for 80 grand? This house is worth 100, so you can still make 20. I'm buying it for 70, and I'm selling it to you for 80. So I make 10 grand. You get a good house that has $20,000 that you could still sell it for, and the buyer or the seller gets his 70 grand, and everybody wins. So I love wholesalers. That's in a nutshell is what it is. They basically find a property at a good discount. They get to keep some of that money when they get it, and then I get a good discount when they sell it to me. So they basically, to me, wholesalers, they save me the time from going and trying to find motivated sellers. So great question, Nathan. Let's see, what else do we got? Let me see here. What do you think about Jon Jones vacating his title, light heavyweight title? I don't know. Is he doing that? I personally wouldn't mind. Look, I think Jon Jones is in a position where he's going to start doing a bunch of rematches and everything. I would like to see Jon Jones be motivated, and if that means going up to heavyweight, I would like to see that. So Lataro says, Myles, have you ever dabbled into commercial real estate? I've studied it. I've kind of looked at certain properties and I've analyzed deals, but I haven't jumped on anything. I haven't seen anything that's really sparked my interest, or I haven't seen enough return. I am actually working on a commercial loan though for some of the properties that I already have. So I might be getting into that, but so far, no, I haven't. Nathan James, hello. What's up, my man? What's up? Pablo, any news when you can get back into the Bellator cage? Yes, guys, I'm fighting July 17th against Georgi Karahankin, and I'm fighting him in LA so far. So that's what we're doing. Dare 6500 says Gilbert Burns versus the Woodley Thoughts. I thought Gilbert did great, man. I thought he jumped on him early. He got him cut early. Just Burns pressed it on the feet. His wrestling, everything was good. Burns looked like he wanted it more, and he kept his range very good, and he mixed it up a little bit. So I think he did great. Nathan Turner, where do you have properties at? Nathan, check out my video that I did about my whole real estate portfolio. It's in the archives of the videos, so you can check it all out there. Is there any state you wouldn't invest in? So Fernando C says, is there any state you wouldn't invest in? Absolutely, yes. I will not invest in a state where the people are moving out of. I will not invest in a state where there's high vacancy, meaning that there's houses that are empty. I will not invest in that state. I will not invest in a state that has the populations went down and that there's really no jobs. So if there's no jobs in the state, or if jobs are leaving the state, I will not invest there. Let me see what else. I will not invest in a state or areas where there's not a lot of people. Because remember, you need people to fill up your rental properties. So yeah. Chris Wood, we need to see Fury Jury fight Raging Ally Quinta for the real estate championship. All right, yeah. That's I know Al, from what I know, I think Al does he sells properties. I don't know if he's an investor. I know he owns his own home, but I'm not a realtor. I don't sell properties. I buy properties and I hold on to them for the long term. Let me see. Mickey says, hey, Myles, what's up? Greetings from Denmark. What's up, Mickey? How are you? Adam Hassan, what's up, champ? What did you work as when you trained full time? Oh, great question, Adam. So I worked I worked at the Detroit Zoo. I worked in the warehouse. I worked at a hot tub, delivering hot tubs and removing hot tubs. I worked bouncing, so I would work security, and I work at clubs doing bouncing. And I also I taught jiu-jitsu, and I taught personal training. So I think if you're training, I would say that working at a nightclub, because you can still train, right? If you're working 10 till 2, you can still wake up the next morning and train, and you can make some cash on hand. So nightclubs and teaching, jiu-jitsu or wrestling or striking, I think those are the best ways for you guys that are coming up training and want to be a fighter, because you'll make just enough money to have some food, be able to pay maybe a couple of your bills, and be able to train full time. So great question. All right, a couple more. Let me see what else. Ask the questions. Fernando, would you consider a meet and greet with your YouTube followers? Yeah, absolutely. Krashi Bahika, hopefully I said that right. Will Floyd become broke? Floyd Mayweather. I hope not, man. Floyd has made so much money. I don't know, though, personally, because I don't know. Floyd looks like he spends a lot of his money, but I mean, he has so much of it. It would be hard for me to see him go broke. But I don't know. I'm not with Floyd every day. I don't know how he's spending his money. So let me see. If you could go back to school, what would you study? Warmir says. If I could go back to school, what would I study? I wanted to be a physical therapist when I was in school a little bit, but that's about it. I don't really ever see myself going back to school, guys. And if I did, it would just be for like something personally that I wanted to learn. Chris Wood, will you ever return to the UFC, Myles? That's a great question. Possibly. There's so many variables right now that need to play out before I can really be like, yeah or no. It depends what UFC would offer me, what my opportunities would be elsewhere, and where I'm at in my career. Nathan says, you need to make a TikTok if you don't have one. I think you'll build a huge following there. Yes, I do need to make a TikTok. I know, I do. Great point though, Nathan. Rodriguez says, Would you change your name to Myles Money Jury soon? Probably not, but I do like Myles Hung Jury. What do you guys think of that? I think that flows pretty good. Do not start TikTok, says Nathan. Do not be such a guy. Oh man. Christopher says, have you heard anything on Johnny Hendricks and what is he doing nowadays? Last I heard of Johnny Hendricks is the bare knuckle boxing, man, and he didn't look in the best shape. I think he's probably still in Texas, but I haven't heard much of him right now, so I don't know. All right, guys, it's been awesome today. Great tuning in and connecting with you guys. Check out this week's videos coming up, and man, enjoy your Sundays. Love you guys, and I'll talk to everybody soon.